Okay, I know it's been a little while since my last review, but I've got a new tripod, a new computer setup, and a new opening, so I'm ready to get that bad game review I promised out of the way. Now, when I was younger, I played quite a lot of games, and looking back, I still do. But when I think about it, some of the games I liked were absolutely terrible. Now, today I'm going to be reviewing a game that I hated as a kid. Ultraman for the Super Nintendo. It was also released on the Mega Drive, but I've never played that version. But I hated this game as a kid. I loved games like Shadow the Hedgehog and Superman 64, but I hated this. My god, this is going to be messy.
Alright then, let's get this over with. We seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties.
Damn it. Well, thankfully I have a hacked Wii with a Super Nintendo emulator built into it, so I can just simply download a ROM, run the game on the Wii, and I suppose I'll get footage for the review done.
You are a pirate!
Oh, fuck off! So here we have Ultraman, or as the title screen says, Ultraman Towards the Future. It's a game based on some Japanese TV series of the same name. I'm surprised such a game was even released outside of Japan, unless there's something I'm missing, since I've never actually seen the show. Whatever, let's just get straight into the gameplay. So seeing as though Ultraman is about fighting aliens, guess what you get to do in this game? Fight aliens! Yeah, I bet you never saw that one coming! Okay, I have to admit that this game does have some interesting ideas behind it. Ultraman has a couple of simple moves: a punch, a kick, a jump, a laser, and a dodge roll which is activated by pushing the D-pad in an arc. Both Ultraman and his opponent have a health bar at the bottom of the screen. When Ultraman's health bar becomes empty, he dies as you would expect, but the enemy's health bar works quite differently. Once it becomes empty, instead of dying, he keeps on fighting as if nothing has even happened, and the word finish appears. In the center of the screen is a gorge which fills up slowly. The higher the gorge is filled, the more powerful a laser you can fire. You can switch between 4 levels of power using the L and R buttons. The more powerful the laser you fire, the more the gorge empties. In order to defeat your opponent, you must first empty their health bar, and then fire your most powerful laser at them. This introduces some level of strategy, as a laser is by far the most damaging attack in the game, but you also need to have its power maxed out in order to win the fight, in the end, and using the laser decreases the gorge. So far this sounds like a somewhat interesting concept, but then you actually get into the gameplay and realise that it controls like absolute shit, and this is the reason why this game pisses me off so much. Ultraman's movement is sluggish and awkward like you couldn't possibly imagine. Every time you attack an enemy, the enemy is pushed backwards, and because Ultraman moves so incredibly damn slow, then they beat you before you get the chance to retaliate. Because of this, the only surefire way to do any damage is to constantly jump and kick them in their ugly as hell face. Also, can someone tell me why the fuck X is the jump button? Now who the hell thought that was a good idea? Speaking of which, the jumping mechanics are also terrible. When jumping forward to catch up to the enemy and kick them in the face, the jump isn't as bad as other situations, despite still being as awkward as fuck. Simply performing an ordinary jump to dodge an attack is completely useless because the jump is very slow and not very high, making it incredibly likely for you to get hit. By holding up on the D-pad and pressing the jump button, Ultraman will perform this massive jump, and this is the only way you can efficiently dodge many attacks, and even then this move is incredibly flawed, because you get launched so damn high in the air that you can't see for shit, not to mention that the mid-air controls are insanely sensitive, so you'll probably land so close to an enemy and take damage, making your attempt to dodge completely pointless. The only saving grace of this game is the graphics and music, which aren't terrible, but at the same time are absolutely nothing to write home about. In fact, there is a considerable problem within the programming of the graphics, which is quite distracting, and once again, leads to the jump mechanics. In an attempt to add sense of depth to the scene, the foreground moves down whenever Ultraman moves up, but this is flawed because the background doesn't move at all, and it looks like the foreground is bobbing up and down on its own accord. There's nothing wrong with the graphics aside from this per se, but the visuals are still nothing special. Long story short, Ultraman is one of the worst games I've ever played. The controls are so clunky and sluggish that every single fight is a chore, not to mention that the game is incredibly short and there's absolutely zero replay value. I'm giving Ultraman a 3.5 out of 10. The gameplay's astonishingly bad, and every other element is decent at best, with nothing standing out as spectacular or even very good. Don't bother wasting your time with this one. This is JJ signing out.